Welcome to my channel. My name is Shanika Riley and this is the Daily Riley. Last week, or whenever it was, we watched Evil Dead Rise. Loved it. It was an amazing movie. And as you can see from the title, finally, I don't know if anyone was waiting for it, but I surely was. Because to be honest, I do want to do more book reviews because I love to read. I love to write. I am currently writing a book. I'm hoping to get it published at some point in my life, but I've written many books. I had about like 6-7 books on Wattpad and I took them all down and I reread them recently and I'm like, what the hell was wrong with me? But again, I was like 12, 13, 14. I should not even have been on Wattpad reading or writing the books that I was, but today we are going to be reading Red, White, and Royal Blue. Listen. I am in love with this book. And then the movie came out. I have not seen the movie. I forced, like, it was torture to not just watch the movie and then just rewatch it a second time on here. I was like, no, I want to have like a first time experience watching it, seeing a book I love come to life. So I didn't watch it. But then I saw behind the scenes. I followed Taylor and Nicholas on Instagram because I fell in love with them. So the way I will be doing my book reviews, I will talk about the plot. I will go through the entire book. I then will talk about my favorite like quotes or things that really resonated with me or that I freaked out about. And then I will also talk about things I dislike because yes, even though I do love this book and it's almost perfect, I do have 3 complaints. And then I will talk about the author and then I will just give my overall thoughts. This book was written by Casey McQuiston. I really hope I'm saying their last name right. And Casey do go by they, them pronouns. So that is how I will be addressing them when I do get to the author's part. I'm going to be honest. I do not know much about Casey. This is my first book that I've read by them. But, I'll just give my thoughts on how I felt about their writing and, everything based from this book. Anyways, let's get started. This is Red, White, and Royal Blue. So I'm going to go through the characters so you guys will know who I'm talking about as I go throughout the plot so there's no confusion. And then I will also read the description on the back of the book. Isn't the book cute? It says, what happens when America's first son falls in love with the Prince of Wales? When his mother became president of the United States, Alex Claremont Diaz was promptly cast as the American equivalent of a young royal. Handsome, charismatic, genius, his image is pure millennial marketing gold for the White House. There's only one problem. Alex has a beef with an actual prince, Henry, across the pond. And when the tabloid gets hold of a photo involving an Alex/Henry altercation, US/British relations take a turn for the worse. Heads of family and state and other handlers devise a plan for damage control. Stays a truce between the two rivals. What at first begins as a fake Instagrammable friendship grows deeper and more dangerous than either Alex or Henry could have imagined. Soon, Alex finds himself hurtling into a secret romance with a surprisingly unstuffy Henry that could derail the presidential campaign and upend 2 nations. It raises the question, can love save the world after all? Where do we find the courage and the power to be the people we are meant to be? And how can we learn to let our true colors shine through? When it comes to genres of books, TV shows, movies, the number one thing that will get me, even if it's trash, even if it's garbage, I will suffer through it if it's enemies to lovers. So when I read that and I was like, wait, the president's son, the prince, enemies to lovers, come on, how could I not? Let's go through the characters and then we're gonna get to the plot of the entire thing. It's a lot, but as I say, just bear with me through it all. We will get through everything. So the characters are Alex, which is one of our main characters, and he is the president's son. And then we have Henry, who's also the other main characters, and he's the Prince of England. So these are our 2 main couples, Alex and Henry, my babies, my children, my parents. I love them. And then we have Luna. He's a gay U.S. senator. I think in the book he's supposed to be the first openly gay U.S. senator. And he's also friends with Alex. There's a big age difference because Luna's like an old man in his 50s maybe. But because Luna has ties to Alex's parents, that relationship kind of formed. Then we have June, she's Alex's sister. We have Nora, who is Alex and June's best friend. And we have Ellen, she's Alex and June's mother and also the first woman president of the United States. And then we have Oscar, he's Alex and June's dad. Zara, who is the president's deputy chief. Then we have Pez, love him. He's Henry's best friend. We have Beatrice, or B. I think that's how you would pronounce Beatrice, not Bia. Or is it Bia? Oh my God, I don't even know. But Bia. And she is Henry's sister. We have Shan. I do believe it's Shan and not Sean. Please do correct me on that. But we're going to stick with Shan. And he is Henry's equerry. We have Philip, who is Henry's older brother. And then we have Amy. She's the president's Secret Service. Cash is also another president's Secret Service, but he's also kind of like Alex's babysitter or bodyguard, whichever one you prefer. Because if you know Alex, I would say a babysitter. And then we have Queen Mary. We'll get to that hag soon. She's Henry's and Philip's and Bia's grandmother, and also Catherine, who is Henry's, Philip's, and Bia's mother. I'm not going to be talking about all the characters individually and how I feel about them. I'm sorry. I love them all, but I don't have time to give the characteristics of everyone and talk about everyone individually. That's why you need to read the book, because I know the movie doesn't do that. My focus today is Alex and Henry and their story. If anyone else plays a role to it, they will be mentioned. But if not, don't look forward to me mentioning anyone else if they don't play a role in the main characters. Alex is charismatic, he's funny, he's handsome, he's charming, and he is all those things. Alex is my baby. I love him. He could do no wrong. He's outgoing, he has a potty mouth. He's also very loving. He cares so much for people and issues and causes. Like, he wants to get into politics because, you know, he wants to help people who are less fortunate and people who are struggling and minorities and people in the LGBTQ community. You know, he cares about these issues and he fights hard for these issues and he fights hard for the people he loves. And then we get to Henry, and Henry can also be very strong. He can be very determined, and it's gonna show throughout that he does come out of his shell. But you know, at some point he was one of those people. He's very closed off. He has a lot of trauma, a lot of internalized issues, especially with, you know, having to had come to terms with his sexuality. And then, you know, his father passed, and then he had to deal with his grandmother and the weight of being a prince of England. And, you know, once Alex comes into his picture, he learns how to kind of tear down those walls and everything. And you see that he's very strong. He's very brave. He's noble. He's also charming, handsome, funny in his own way. And when you put them together, they just work. But it wasn't always like that because they were enemies. I'm going to read a part in the book how Alex described Henry before he got to know him. It's on page 7. If you have your books, get your books out. And he said to his sister, June, I'm the son of the President of the United States. Prince Henry is a figurehead of the British Empire. You can't just call him my arch nemesis. Arch nemesis implies he's actually a rival to me on any level and not, you know, a stuck-up product of inbreeding who probably off to photos of himself. He didn't see Henry as like someone with a personality. Ooh. Where did the accent come from? It all started with Alex and his family being invited to the royal wedding in England. Henry's older brother, Philip, is getting married. And obviously, with trying to make ties between the US and England, the President of the United States and her children were also invited to the wedding. They're at the wedding, everything is going fine, and then Prince Henry come and asks June if he could have a dance. And while they're dancing, you know, Alex is making little smart remarks here and there. He's being an ass. And he kind of like staggers over to Henry and he's being annoying. He's making little comments to him. And Henry's like, you do realize that every time we're in the same space, you are the one that's starting something with me. I am never the one starting anything with you. Alex obviously got upset by that. He didn't like Henry kind of saying, you're obsessed with me. Henry was about to walk away and Alex kind of like pulled him back in a sense. And they fell into the royal cake, which cost a shit ton of money. And the cake came crashing down. And everyone, obviously tabloids are taking pictures. Everybody's like, oh my God, what's happening? The prince and the president's son is fighting. Is everything okay between the US and England? So, it's a big thing. On the president's side and on British side, they had to say, you know what? We have to look good in front of the tabloids. We have to let them know that Prince Henry and Alex have no issues with each other. They are best friends. What happened was simply just an accident. They gave them pamphlets to get to know each other. They're going on press tours. They're going on interviews. Goddamn, they're going on a hospital visit to sick kids to build this fake ass friendship picture. For me personally, I want to say this is where their romance for each other kind of sparked and the hatred kind of died down, because at the hospital when Alex sees Henry talking to these kids, it changed his view on him because he was so sad that he knew the kind of person that Henry was. He realized that, whoa, wait a minute. Maybe the image I had of him inside my head is not true. So while they're in the hospital, like a little false alarm go off and they're being shoved into a closet by Cash. And I guess they think that someone's in the hospital trying to attack them, like a shootout or something. I'm going to be reading a part from page 50 and 51. This is when they're in the closet. Henry's kind of like, what's your problem with me? I don't think I've ever done anything to you. I'm just confused by your animosity towards me because, again, Alex is making smart remarks while they're in the closet like, oh, nothing like this ever happens to me. But now that I'm with you, someone is now trying to kill me. And Henry just kind of got tired of it. And Alex kind of goes on like a little rant and he says, I don't know. Doing what we do is hard, but it's harder for me. I'm the son of the first female president and I'm not white like she is. Can't even pass for it. People will always come down harder on me. And you're, you. And you were born into all of this and everyone thinks you're Prince Charming. You're basically a living reminder I'll always be compared to someone else no matter what I do, even if I work twice as hard. Alex is mixed. His father is Hispanic and his mother is white. But on his skin tone, he does not pass for white. He could not pass for it, as he said. And he's being compared to Prince Henry, this white man of England who's born into a royal family. And then makes it worse. He's the son of the first woman president of the United States. Even if he works twice as hard or just the equal amount as Henry, they will always find a problem with it and he will always be compared to Henry. He could do something and then it will be like, oh, but Henry did this. Even if what Alex did holds more weight, Henry will always be in the picture. And I could understand his frustration, to be honest, because imagine trying to live a normal life and just go on about your days and you're being compared to somebody in a whole other friggin' country. And no matter what you do, it will never live up to what he does. So while they're also in there, the topic of what actually is the root of everything, Alex also says, besides the comparison constantly, they met before at some match and Alex went over to introduce himself to Henry. And he said Henry was rude to him, almost like he's not even worth acknowledging. He's less than him. He's below him. And after that, it just left a bad taste in Alex's mouth. Like, oh, look at this prince who's everyone's kissing his ass and thinks he's so perfect and he's so nice and he's so kind. And this is how he treats people behind the scenes when he thinks you can't hear him. And Henry was like so confused by it because Henry's like, huh? That's not how I remember it. And then he kind of think back on it and he was like, oh, wait a minute. You're kind of getting me wrong. If I did react like that, I'm so sorry. I honestly didn't mean it. But at the time, of that introduction, Henry had lost his father and he was trying to cope with that. So after that, they were like, okay, so our hatred for each other and the frenemies thing was just based on a misunderstanding. We could get on. And they ended up exchanging numbers. Then throughout the entire book, they went on this texting and email thing. I call it email gate, but just know throughout the entire book, because obviously one lives in England and one lives in the United States, they can't just see each other as frequent or, hey, want to go grab a coffee or anything like that. They have to send each other emails. So that's how throughout the entire book is how their love kind of blossomed, is through emails. We fast forward and now it's the New Year's Eve gala, and Alex and June and Nora are hosting this big New Year's party. They do it every time. And Nora and June kind of invited Henry. And Alex is like, ugh, he's acting like he don't care. Oh, why did you guys invite Henry? Just know I'm not going to be a babysitter for him. And he babysat him the entire night. And then they're counting down the new year. And Alex and Nora, if I'm remembering correctly, bear with me, it's been a while, they shared a kiss. And they're friends. They don't really have any feelings towards each other, so I guess it's fine. But, you know, Henry kind of saw them share a kiss and he walked out of the party. So Alex then realized that Henry's not there, so he went to look for him. And when he went to look for him, he saw him outside. And he's like, why are you out here when there's like a big party going on? And Henry's like, I should be asking you the same thing. This is your party. Why are you looking for me? This is on page 106, 107, and 108. So Henry says to Alex, do you ever wonder what it's like to be some anonymous person out in the world? So Alex frowns. What do you mean? Just, you know, Henry says, if your mom weren't the president and you were just a normal bloke living a normal life, what things might be like. What you'd be doing instead. Alex says, well, I mean, obviously I'd be a model. Henry shakes his head ruefully. I'd be a writer. So Alex says, can't you do that? So Henry responds and says, not exactly seen as a worthwhile pursuit for a man in line for the throne, scribbling verses about quarter life angst. Henry bites his lip, waits a beat, and opens his mouth again. I date more, probably, as well. So Alex says, right, because it's so hard to get a date when you're a prince. Henry then responds, like I said, the options I'd like, he says, dragging the words out, they don't quite seem to be options at all. Because if you are the Prince of England, how dare you like another man? I'm saying that I have people who interest me, but I shouldn't pursue them, at least not in my position. And the people are Alex, and Alex is a man. I can't emphasize this enough, what he's trying to get at, but Alex is just so dense sometimes. I don't know what the hell you're talking about, Alex says. So Henry responds, you don't. No, you really don't. I really, really don't. Christ, you're as thick as it gets, he says. And he grabs Alex's face in both hands and kisses him. Listen, I was in here screaming and acting a fool because I knew I felt the build-up. I felt the build-up for a kiss, but then I was like, no, there's no way a kiss is gonna happen already. So I was thinking he's just gonna burst out, I like you, or I'm talking about you, or something like that. When I saw that it was a kiss, when I read that it was a kiss, I was like, a kiss already? But I wasn't complaining. Henry freaks out, or he's like, he freaks out. He's like, oh my God, I can't believe I did that. And he like kind of pulled away from the kiss and he like walked off, leaving Henry standing outside in the freezing cold, confused to hell about what the heck just happened. Alex kind of was going through the motions of he enjoyed the kiss. Why did he enjoy the kiss? And he's like, I'm pretty sure I'm straight. So I don't know why I'm thinking about the kiss, why I want more kiss. And this is kind of where Alex now have gone through his bisexual awakening. He's coming to terms to it, but he came to terms with his bisexuality in the funniest way ever. And it's on page 110, 111. He can pinpoint moments throughout his life when he thought to himself, see, this means I can't possibly be into guys. When he was in middle school and he kissed a girl for the first time, and he didn't think about a guy when it was happening, just that her hair was soft and felt nice. Or when he was a sophomore in high school and one of his friends came out as gay and he couldn't imagine ever doing anything like that. Or his senior year when he got drunk and made out with Liam in his twin bed for an hour, and he didn't have a sexual crisis about it. That had to mean he was straight, right? I don't know too many straight guys out there that's gonna make out with another man for an hour. Because if he were into guys, it would have felt scary to be with one, but it wasn't. That was just how teenage best friends were sometimes. Like when they would get off at the same time watching in Liam's bedroom, or that one time Liam reached over and Alex didn't stop him. I was reading this and I kept reading and I was like, he's not serious. He's not for real. He can't be. And as it kept going, I'm like, honey, what do you mean you let another man you off and you're still saying you're straight? He thinks back over his hormonal teens and remembered thinking about girls in the shower, but he also remembers fantasizing about a boy's hands on him, about hard jawlines and broad shoulders. He remembered pulling his eyes off a teammate in the locker room a couple times, but that was like an objective thing. And I do believe as he was recalling all of this, there was also like a small part of him that was like, don't be gay or don't be bisexual. I am straight. I will be straight. Because again, you know what comes with being not straight. You know what comes with that. You know the backlash that comes with that. How people view that. So even though he does come to terms with his sexuality after a while, I do think while he's going through these realizations, even though it's blatantly obvious that he's not straight, he wanted to be. Now we're at the state dinner that's happening at the White House. And Henry's invited at the state dinner. Mind you, Henry has been ghosting him this entire time. Finally, Alex sees him at the state dinner and he's like, okay, I'm gonna confront him. Alex kind of went to Amy and he was like, I need to talk to Henry urgently. So can you like just give me 5 minutes? Whatever. We need to talk about something. So she made it happen and they went into some room. And as soon as they got in the room, they started kissing. And I'm like, Henry did all that ghosting and everything just so as soon as he see this man, they start kissing. Like, we're not going to address the elephant in the room. Why you've been ghosting me. Like, it's obvious why he was. But still, we could have talked about it. So then on page 134, Alex says, yeah, so here's what we're going to do. You're going to go be like 500 feet away from me for the rest of the night, or else I'm going to do something that I will deeply regret in front of a lot of very important people. And then you're going to come to the east bedroom on the second floor at 11 o'clock tonight, and I'm going to do very bad things to you. And if you ghost me again, I'm going to get you put on a no-fly list. Got it? It's nighttime. And Henry sneaked off to Alex's room. And this is when they had their first like actual sexual act since the kiss. Well, the kiss like 5 minutes ago. But now we're doing more than just kissing. And that's on page 136. Alex kind of makes the remark that there's something different about the way he's kissing now. It's measured, deliberate, soft. Alex isn't sure why or what to do with it. He kisses back but lets himself be kissed however Henry wants to kiss him, which right now is exactly how he have expected Prince Charming to kiss in the first place. Sweet and deep, like they're standing at sunrise in the moors. He can practically feel the wind in his hair. It's ridiculous. Now imagine being kissed by somebody that good that you feel like you're standing in the moors and you can feel the wind through your hair. Now, maybe I need to meet Henry. After this one act, we have went on an escapade of sexual acts and blows in various places and everything. Doing all of that, you have to get to know each other. Now we want to build the emotional relationship. But Alex soon came to realize that even though Henry will do all these things with him, meet up in these places with him, and they go at it, Henry is not as open as Alex is. That's mentioned on 165 and 166. You know, this whole arrangement we have, you can tell me stuff. I tell you stuff all the time, politics stuff and school stuff and not so family stuff. I know I'm like not the paragon of normal human communication, but you know, another pause. And then Henry finally says, I'm not historically great at talking about things. I did like that he says to Henry, you know, we do all these things. We're kissing each other. We're touching each other. But you still can't open up to me. I want you to know that even though we're doing all these things, I don't want you to think that's all I care about. I want you to open up to me. I want you to tell me things. I want to get to know you. I don't think Henry has ever gotten that chance to be around somebody or somebody actually care to get to know him as a person and tell him, hey, I want to get to know you, open up to me, talk to me. I feel like because of all the scrutiny, it's hard for him to feel like safe and comfortable opening up to people, because when he does, he gets hurt or walked all over. Henry finally starts to open up. He talks about his father passing and how hard it was on him. He talked about how his sister had a drug addiction after the father passed, and he also talked about his mother practically shutting down, not being in their life because she did not know how to cope with losing her husband. But he also talked about him being gay and, you know, thinking people in his family realized that he was gay and how everyone went about it. And that's on page 170. B is the only one in the family I've told, though I'm sure the rest have suspected. I was always a bit different, never quite had the stiff upper lip. I think Dad knew and never cared, but Gran sat me down the day I finished my A-levels and made it abundantly clear I was not to let anyone know about my deviant desires I might be beginning to harbor that might reflect poorly upon the crown. I cannot imagine what it's like for a child to be struggling with their sexuality and you as a parent, a grandparent, whoever is raising them, realize. And instead of letting them know that you're there for them and that whenever they're ready to tell you anything, just know it's a safe space, it's a comfortable, you're going to accept them, you're still going to love them. Instead, you decide to be an ass and be a terrible and awful person and basically said, if you feel those deviant thoughts coming in, don't even think about it. Don't even utter it out of your mouth. You haven't said anything, but I already see it and I'm going to stop it immediately. So we fast forward to after bonding and everything. We're now at karaoke night. We got to see Henry let his guard down. He's singing. He's drunk. He's having time with his friends and his boyfriend, and he's singing on top of a table. He's sweating and he's just having the time of his life. For once, he got the chance to be a normal early 20-something-year-old with his friends and his boyfriend out in public. And I love that being with Alex, he gets to do these things and he gets to express himself in ways that he wants. And after karaoke night, this now is when they have had sex for the first time. I did say I was not going to talk too much about politics, but this does play a part in when I'm gonna get to parts that I have issues with, and also kind of like a plot to the storyline for Alex and Henry. You guys do remember that I mentioned Luna, who is the first openly gay US senator. Luna has always stood for what he believed in, stood up for minorities, stood up for people in the LGBTQ community. He never backs down from a challenge. And you know, Alex has always looked at him since he was young as this is someone I want to grow up and be like. Because this is someone he genuinely cares about and saw as a real close family friend, when Luna betrayed them, it really took a hard turn on Alex. You betrayed the trust we have in you by going to now work for the opposing candidate that's slaughtering my mother, trying to ruin our name, and who knows what you're telling him. And he kind of went to this bar in New York and he got drunk. Obviously, Henry heard about what happened. It's all over the news. Henry came to comfort him. And I thought, again, I feel two ways about this scene. I hate it, but I also like it because the fact that Henry came to comfort him. The next morning, they're still cuddled up together, and Zara is banging on the door like, Alex, we need to get going. And she barges in and she catches them. And she's like freaking out because what do you mean the president's son and the Prince of England is in a New York hotel room, butt naked, cuddling with each other while there's a whole presidential election going on? And, she told him, you need to tell your mother, because when anything comes out, someone needs to know. And we got to when he came out to his mother, and that's on page 235, 236, and 238. I've been figuring some stuff out about myself lately, and I wanted to let you know because you're my mom, and I want you to be part of my life, and I don't want to hide things from you. Okay, Ellen says. Okay, he repeats. All right. So I've realized I'm not straight. I'm actually bisexual. Oh, that's it, sugar? God, I was worried it was gonna be something worse. That's great, baby. I'm so glad you told me. There's something else. I kind of met somebody. So Ellen said, you did? Well, I'm happy for you. I hope you had them do all the paperwork. Because, over here, they have each other signing NDAs and DNAs. He says, he interrupts her. It's Henry. Henry? Yeah, Henry. Henry, as in the prince? Yes. Of England? Yes. So, not another Henry. No, Mom, Prince Henry of Wales. I thought you hated him, she says. Or, now you're friends with him? Both true at different points, but now we're like a thing, have been a thing for like 7-ish months, I guess. So she said to him, here's the thing. I know I put a lot on you, but I do it because I trust you. You're a dumbass, but I trust you. And I trust your judgment. I promised you years ago I would never tell you to be anything you're not. So I'm not going to be the president or the mother who forbids you from seeing him. But this is a really, really big deal. This is not just some person from class or some intern. You need to think really long and hard because you're putting yourself and your career and above all this campaign and this entire administration in danger here. I know you're young, but this is a forever decision. Even if you don't stay with him forever, if people find out, that sticks with you forever. So you need to figure out if you feel forever about him. And if you don't, you need to cut it the fuck out. The forever line? The forever line? When she said that to him, I can't tell you how I just sat there and I really just thought about what she said. Because I was like, that's a mother. That is someone who cares for her kids, who love her kids, but she's also being realistic and she's also thinking as a president. So she didn't put one above the other. She didn't put being his mother over her career as well. She didn't put her career over being a mother. It's not just his image and his future career on the line. It's also hers. And yes, he's her child, but this is something she has still worked her ass off for. They decided to go on vacation in Texas at this little house, cabin, whatever, that Alex's father bought. And he invited Henry. Of course, they, as much as they can try to be together, they try. And I love that. I will give that to them, that even their countries apart in different continents, they still do try to make time for each other. It's now nighttime and they decided to go for a little swim and they're naked and they're skinny dipping or whatever. And all these thoughts are racing through Alex's head. He wants Henry to know that this is something he's serious about. It's not just about them sleeping together. It's not just about them doing these sexual acts and just kissing and physical thing. He emotionally, mentally, physically wants to be with him and he's serious about this relationship. So he decided to verbally expressed that to Henry on page 262 and 263. You know how they always say to take it one day at a time? I think I take it 10 years in the future. Like when I was in high school, it was all, well, my parents hate each other and my sister is leaving for college. And sometimes I look at other guys in the showers. But if I keep looking directly ahead, that stuff can't catch up to me. I used to think if I pictured the person I wanted to be and took all the crazy anxiety in my brain and narrowed it down to that point, I could rewire it, use it to power something else. It's like I never learned how to just be where I am. And where I am is here with you. And I'm thinking maybe I should start trying to take it day by day and just feel what I feel. And Henry dips underwater and jumped out of the lake in the middle of Alex's confession. And while I said they both could do no wrong, I wanted to beat Henry's ass. The next morning, Alex woke up. Henry's fucking gone. Alex is just like, he's going through it. He's frustrated. He's angry. He's sending emails. He's texting. He's calling. And Henry would not return any of his calls and texts. Alex hopped on a flight to England to confront Henry, and he is outside this man's house, castle, screaming, "God damn it, Henry. Henry, you mother... Henry, you piece of shit. Get your ass down here." Henry finally shows his ass and he's like, "For Christ's sake, Alex, what are you doing?" So then Alex storms in and he's already yelling because he's upset, rightfully so, and he's hurt. So he said, "Ghost me for a week, make me stand in the rain like a brown John Cusack, and now you won't even talk to me. I'm really just having a great time here. I can see why all y'all had to marry your cousins." So Alex says to him, "I love you, okay?" And Henry says to him, "Do you have any idea what that means? This is the entire goddamn reason I can't do this, and you know why I can't do this, so please don't make me say it." Alex is like, "You're not even gonna try to be happy?" And he's like, "For Christ's sakes," Henry says, "I've been trying to be happy my entire idiot life. My birthright is a country, not happiness. When have I ever, since the first instant I touch you, pretended to be anything less than in love with you? Are you so self-absorbed as to think this is about you and whether or not I love you, rather than the fact that I'm heir to the throne? You at least have the option to not choose a public life eventually, but I will live and die in these palaces and in this family, so don't you dare come to me and question if I love you when it's a thing that could bloody well ruin everything. I never thought I'd be stood here faced with a choice I can't make because I never imagined you would love me back. Don't you bloody see? I'm not like you. I can't afford to be reckless. I don't have a family who will support me. I don't go about shoving who I am in everyone's faces and dreaming about a career in politics so I can be more scrutinized and picked apart by the entire godforsaken world. I can love you and want you and still not want that life. I'm allowed, all right, and it doesn't make me a liar. It makes me a man with some infinitesimal shred of self-preservation, unlike you. And you don't get to come here and call me a coward for it. Alex has a choice in everything he does. You're choosing to continue to be in politics even though you don't have to. You're choosing to continue to be scrutinized by the public and by everyone. And while Henry's there like, I don't want this. I don't want to be in the public's eye. I don't want to continue to have people pick apart my life and say what I do wrong and say what I do right and what I can and can't do. Alex still kind of doesn't get it fully. If he's getting his heart broken tonight, he sure as hell is going to make Henry have the guts to do it right. Tell me you're done with me. I'll get back on the plane. That's it. So Henry says, "F you." And then they started kissing. The next morning he wakes up and the bed is empty, and he's going through all these motions like, wow, we're really done. But then the door pushes open and Henry walks in and he kind of comes to his senses. I think them having that night together and while they're doing it, maybe all the feelings came rushing back to Henry, and he realized that I can't lose this. And he said, you know what? I'm going to fight. I am going to stand up for myself. I'm going to fight for you. I'm going to fight for a love. And that's on page 278, 279, and 280. I'm not good at saying these things like you are, but I've always thought, ever since I knew about me, and even before when I could sense I was different, and after everything the past few years, all the mad things my head does, I've always thought of myself as a problem that deserved to stay hidden. Never quite trusted myself or what I wanted. Before you, I was all right letting everything happen to me. I honestly have never thought I deserved to choose, but you treat me like I do. I'm terrified, and my whole life is completely mad, but trying to give you up this week nearly killed me. I don't know if I'll ever be able to tell the world, but I want to. One day, if there's any legacy for me on this bloody earth, I want it to be true. Alex says, okay. I'm into making history. I'm going to get that tattooed on me. They then get to how long they have liked each other and felt this way about each other and thinking of making history with each other. And it's on page 283. Henry says to him, how long have you been thinking about this? Alex says, consciously, since like the DNC. Subconsciously, into denial as a long ass time, at least since you kissed me. And Alex says, what about you? What about me? Henry says, Christ, Alex, the whole bloody time. Since the Olympics. The Olympics? But that's like, yes, Alex, the day we met. While Alex was making Henry an enemy at the Olympics when they first met, Henry was in love with him. Henry was liking him and had a crush on him since then. Henry's telling Alex how he has always felt about him, that he has never seen him as an enemy, and that is on page 300. You were talking with Nora and June, happy and animated and fully alive, a person living in dimensions I couldn't access and so beautiful. I thought this is the most incredible thing I've ever seen, and I had better keep it a safe distance away from me. I thought if someone like that ever loved me, it would set me on fire. And then I was a careless fool and I fell in love with you anyway. When you rang me at truly shocking hours of the night, I loved you. When you kissed me in disgusting public toilets and pouted in hotel bars and made me happy in ways in which it had never even occurred to me that a mangled up, locked up person like me could be happy, I loved you. And then, inexplicably, you had the absolute audacity to love me back. Alex responds to him what he now loves about Henry, and that is on page 302 and 303. 1. The sound of your laugh when I piss you off. 2. The way you smell underneath your fancy cologne. 3. That thing you do where you stick out your chin to try to look tough. 4. How your hands look when you play the piano. 5. All the things I understand about myself now because of you. 6. How you think Return of the Jedi is the best Star Wars. 7. Your ability to recite Keats. 8. Your ability to recite Bernadette's Don't Let It Drag You Down monologue. 9. How hard you try. 10. How hard you've always tried. 11. How determined you are to keep trying. 12. That when your shoulders cover mine, nothing else in the entire stupid world matters. 13. The goddamn issue of Le Monde you brought back to London with you and kept and have on your nightstand. 14. The way you look when you first wake up. 15. Your shoulder to waist ratio. 16. Your huge, generous, ridiculous, indestructible heart. 17. Your equally huge 18. The face you just made when you read the last one. 19. The way you look when you first wake up. I know I already said this, but I really, really love it. 20. The fact that you have loved me all along. He ended it with saying, I want to fight everyone who has ever hurt you, but it was me too, wasn't it? All that time. I'm so sorry. What I love about Alex and what I will always love about him is he's a person who can admit his wrong. And while he is falling in love with Henry and he's listing all these things that he loves about Henry, and he has now come to understand all this hurt and this heartache and this pain that Henry has been through, he realized that he as well has contributed to that hurt. Even if not intentionally, he added to that, but he apologized for it. But as you know, all good things must come to an end. There's leaked footage from the hotel in New York. The royal family is freaking out. The White House is freaking out. And they're trying to say, how can we get in front of this? What can we do? Just like they did with the friendship, fake a friendship, they decided to put Henry and Alex out with women. So Alex went out on a date with Nora, and then Henry went on a date with June. Even doing that, and they know it's something to save their image, that doesn't mean it's not a feeling. And Henry has a panic attack because of all the pressure. And it's like, here I am fighting again and trying again and pushing myself, and now it just blew up in my face again, and I'm back to square one. And that's on page 311. Alex says to him, but we're gonna do it together and we're gonna make it work. You and me in history, remember? We're just gonna fight because you're it, okay? I'm never gonna love anybody in the world like I love you. And they kissed. Mind you, they're in a car meeting up in secret after the whole fake dating, and they know it's risky, but they took the risk. And sadly, in the next chapter, a picture of them kissing in the car was leaked. But that's not even the worst part. The worst part was the emails. I was pacing back and forth in my room because I was like, not the emails. Do you know what they said in those emails? They were talking about sucking each other off in the books. They were talking about the jobs. They were talking about how huge each other are. Besides the lovey-dovey fluffy stuff, there was also intimate in there. I'm being honest. If it was me, I'm finding the nearest bridge. They wanted to do everything on their own terms, and they weren't granted that. And I hated that they wanted to do this when they were ready. And they were outed. They did not get that chance to choose when they wanted to do it, how they wanted to do it. They were forced to. After everything, they finally got to talk with each other, and they kind of just came to the decision that maybe it's time to tell the truth. And Henry is so determined and he's so confident, and he's like, yeah, we're gonna tell the truth. I'm gonna talk to my grandmother, we're gonna confront her together, and we're gonna just admit to the public that we're in love and we want to be together. But even while he's saying all of this, Alex still feels like something is off. So he asks Beatrice about it, and that's on page 342, 343, and 344. She responded and she says, oh, love, he misses dad. He hasn't really sat with, to be honest, and actually take it in, like, that is gone and this is my reality and whatever. He still misses his father so much. And I want to believe if his mother was at least present, it would have made that missing at least a bit tolerable. You need to understand this to be with Henry. He's the most loving, nurturing, selfless person you could hope to meet. But there's a sadness and hurt in him that is tremendous, and you may very well never truly understand it, but you need to love it as much as you love the rest of him. And that is why I think their love is so cute, because he knows when something is off with Henry, and he's willing to work with him through it all until Henry's okay. We're now gonna confront the queen, and Catherine has shown her ass as a mother. I will say, again, I have never experienced grief, so I don't want to judge her too harshly, but I'm just saying, you're grieving the loss of your husband, but you're still a parent. You still have 3 children who need you, who depend on you, and you know the type of mother that you have, but instead you completely shut down and you completely removed yourself from your children's life, that you weren't even in the midst of your daughter's drug addiction or your son coming to terms with his sexuality, and they needed a parent. You just completely abandoned your kids. She kind of got like a last minute redemption arc, and she finally started being a mother. On page 356 and 357. Are you so determined to believe nothing could change, that nothing should change? We have a real legacy here of hope and love and change. Because Queen Mary is like, oh, the people will never accept it. Oh, it's wrong. It's disgusting. Think about the children. How would people feel having you around their kids? And then I'm like, I know this old shriveled up that needs to just drop dead is not getting at what I think she's getting at. While they're doing this back and forth, they're hearing like noises outside, and Bia went and she like pulled the curtain, and there's a whole march happening outside. You have people with signs, rainbow flags, and then you have signs and t-shirts saying history, huh? And it's just the support, the outpour of support for Alex and Henry. And then there's another one happening in America on October 2nd, 2020. Just like they said, history was made. And Alex gave his speech to America on page 373 and 374. Years ago, I met a prince, and though I didn't realize it at the time, his country has raised him too. The truth is, Henry and I have been together since the beginning of this year. The truth is, as many of you have read, we have both struggled every day with what this means for our families, our countries, and our futures. The truth is, we have both had to make compromises that cost us sleep at night in order to afford us enough time to share our relationship with the world on our own terms. We were not afforded that liberty. But the truth is also simply this: love is indomitable. America has always believed this. And so I am not ashamed to stand here today where presidents have stood and say that I love him. Every person who bears a legacy makes the choice of a partner with whom they will share it, whom the American people will hold beside them in hearts and memories and history books. America, he is my choice. I am the first son of the United States, and I'm bisexual. History will remember me. They now can love each other openly, and they don't have to fake relationships. They don't have to pretend to be dating women, nothing like that. They can just love each other out loud, and they don't have to hide it. But there's still that one, how did all of this get leaked? And Nora, being the genius that she is, she kind of got an email from this anonymous tip about how to see who leaked it. And the leak was from Luna. He told them that the leak was from Richards, who is the guy also running for president against Ellen. And I'm just like, you're a grown man. And instead of trying to dig up dirt on Ellen or something, you target her children. So it's election night, and just like I had hoped, because I'm like, come on, we got to go out with two bangs. Ellen won her second term. And now we've finally come to an end of Red, White, and Royal Blue, and they're outside of Alex's old home that he grew up in, and they're standing outside together. And it says, there are no fireworks out here, no music, no confetti, just sleeping, single family homes, TVs finally switched off, just a house where Alex grew up, where he saw Henry's picture in a magazine and felt a flicker of something. A start. Hey, Alex says to Henry, we won. And Henry says, yeah, we won. My babies have made history. They're together, they're happy, and that is all that matters. I'm just going to read my favorite things that they've said to each other throughout the entire book on page 240 and 241. And this is Alex saying this to Henry. I hate Congress. I hate the army. I hate the world. I hate myself. The world is a mass of fools and knaves. I could almost accept you. Thinking about history makes me wonder how I fit into it one day, I guess. And you too. I kind of wish people still wrote like that. History, huh? Bet we could make some. My other one is on page 242 and 243, and it's Henry responding to Alex. Should I tell you that when we're apart, your body comes back to me in dreams? That when I sleep, I see you, the dip of your waist, the freckle above your hip, and when I wake up in the morning, it feels like I've just been with you, the phantom touch of your hand on the back of my neck, fresh and not imagined. That I can feel your skin against mine, and it makes every bone in my body ache. That for a few moments I can hold my breath and be back there with you in a dream, in 1,000 rooms, nowhere at all. You engross my thoughts too entirely to allow me to think of anything else. You not only employ my mind all day, but you intrude upon my sleep. I meet you in every dream, and when I wake, I cannot close my eyes again for ruminating on your sweetness. Babe, if somebody wrote me this, I am. Let's keep this family friendly. And then the last one that I think has to be my favorite thing that they have said to each other throughout this entire email gate is on page 321. And it is Henry writing to Alex. Thank you from the bottom of my heart for having saved me. I was drowning and you threw yourself into the water without hesitation, without a backward look. While I'm here singing its praises and that it's perfect and it's one of my top 10, top 5 favorite books, I do have issues with it. The New York / Luna's betrayal and an incident. And then the other thing was the breakup and an incident. You see the theme? Now. When they were doing their whole little rendezvous escapade of sexual activities and stuff, I don't have a problem with it because they're young. I'm not a prude about this thing with I don't really care. If it's written good, I'll enjoy it. If I feel like it's unnecessary, I will say. But like the New York and the Luna betrayal, Alex is drinking heavily. They're both started drinking. So they're like a little drunk and a little tipsy. And this is a guy he has known practically all his life, and he was betrayed by him. And I just wish it was a moment of him talking to Henry why it hurts so much, what Luna meant to him, because they had and then they didn't talk about it. It's also the thing with the breakup. Instead of us genuinely sitting down and talking about Henry's anxiety and his fear of going against the royal family and going against his lineage and what is set in stone for him to follow, they had everyone's different. Alex participated again. They were both drunk in the New York thing and they both gave in and they both knew what they were doing. And I'm not gonna say it was just to have as many sexual scenes as it can. I do not want to make that accusation or anything. The scenes, they were okay, they were tolerable. It wasn't too much, but for these instances it felt forced in. I think this book was very cute. It was very, there were serious moments, there were sad moments, and then there was also funny moments. That's one thing I will say. It's a very funny book and it's entertaining and it keeps you. And that's what I want. I want a book that through every chapter, it's going to just keep my attention hooked. An author that can do that is a good author to me. I think the way it was written, especially when it comes to them emailing each other and expressing their love and their admiration for each other, I do think that was so beautifully written, and I have to give that to Casey. That was Red, White, and Royal Blue. I know this video is going to be long. I really do hope you guys will enjoy just sitting down and listening to me talk. Even if you haven't read the book, I appreciate if you sit through these long videos to hear what I have to say. I hope you liked the video. Remember to like, comment, subscribe, turn on the notification bell, and also follow me and all my social media accounts. I have 2 Instagrams, one for the channel and my personal Instagram. You can follow me on either one. It does not really matter. And then also remember to follow me on my Twitter or X, whatever it is now. But if you have read the book, let me know how you feel about the book. If you liked it, if you didn't like it. If you didn't like it, what didn't you like about it? What issues did you have? Let's just talk in the comments. That is all that I have to say. I will try to get this video up as soon as possible. And this has been The Daily Riley. I will see you guys in my next video. Bye. Henry, George, Edward, James Fox, Mount Christian? Is that Mount Christian? Wait.